Rebecca. Chen stood in the doorway of Riverside Elementary's parent-teacher conference room, checking her watch for the third time in 2 minutes. 7:47 p.m. She had 13 minutes before her conference slot, and the hallway smelled like industrial, cleaner and old crayons, a scent that somehow felt universal to every American. Elementary school. The door to her left opened, and a man emerged looking exhausted but satisfied. He was tall, maybe 6'2", with dark blonde hair that needed a cut and wore a faded Denver Broncos hoodie over jeans. What caught Rebecca's attention wasn't his appearance but the little boy clutching his hand, maybe 7 years old, with the same blonde hair and a gap-toothed smile. "Mr. Patterson, thank you so much for coming." Mrs. Hernandez, the second-grade teacher, stood at the door. "Ethan's progress this semester has been remarkable." "Thanks to you, Mrs. H." The man, Mr. Patterson, replied with genuine warmth. "Kid's actually excited about reading now. That's all you. It's a team effort. See you at the fall carnival?" Mrs. Hernandez smiled at the boy. "Ethan, you're doing great, buddy." The boy beamed, and Rebecca watched them walk down the hallway, the father's hand protectively on his son's shoulder, listening intently as the child chattered about something involving Pokemon cards and lunch table politics. Rebecca felt an unexpected pang. Her own conference was about her niece Sophia, whom she'd been raising for the past 6 months after her sister's sudden deployment overseas. Military life meant sacrifice, and Rebecca had stepped up without hesitation. But moments like this reminded her how unprepared she'd been for instant parenthood. "Ms. Chen, we're ready for you," Mrs. Hernandez called. The conference was encouraging. Sophia was adjusting well, making friends, excelling in math. But Mrs. Hernandez mentioned something that stuck with Rebecca. "Sophia talks about you constantly. Auntie Becca is clearly her hero. You're doing an amazing job for someone who stepped into parenting overnight." Driving home, Rebecca replayed that phrase. For someone who stepped into parenting overnight, it felt like a backhanded compliment, even though she knew Mrs. Hernandez meant well. The truth was, Rebecca was struggling. Her marketing career had taken a backseat. Her dating life was non-existent. Her last boyfriend, Marcus, had broken up with her 2 months into her guardianship, saying he wasn't ready for the responsibility of a kid. Never mind that Sophia wasn't his responsibility, his inability to see Rebecca beyond her new role had hurt more than the breakup itself. At dinner with her best friend Janelle the following week, Rebecca finally voiced what had been bothering her. They sat at their favorite Thai restaurant in downtown Denver, and Rebecca pushed pad Thai around her plate. "I think I need to accept that dating is off the table for a while," Rebecca said. "Maybe until Sophia's 18. Janelle nearly choked on her spring roll. "Rebecca, she's 7. You're going to be celibate for 11 years? I'm just being realistic. Who wants to date a woman with a kid? Especially someone who's not even the biological mother? It's complicated, Janelle. I work 50 hours a week. I have a second grader with homework and activities, and I'm still figuring out how to do French braids." Rebecca laughed, but it was hollow. Men want simple. They want fun. They don't want someone who has to be home by 8:30 for bedtime. That's not true, and you know it. Plenty of single parents date successfully. Do they? Or do they just pretend everything's fine while slowly dying inside from exhaustion and loneliness? Rebecca immediately regretted the bitterness in her voice. "Sorry, it's been a long week." Janelle reached across the table. "Becca, listen to me. You're not undateable because you're raising Sophia. You're temporarily overwhelmed because you're still adjusting. But closing yourself off isn't the answer. And honestly, any man who can't appreciate what you're doing, stepping up for your sister, loving that little girl, isn't worth your time anyway." Easy to say when you've been happily married for 5 years. It's easy to say because it's true. Janelle squeezed her hand. "Give yourself some grace, and maybe, just maybe, stay open to possibilities." Rebecca wanted to believe her friend. But driving home that night, she felt the weight of her reality. Single parents couldn't multitask love, not really. How could you give your whole heart to a child who needed stability and also give your whole heart to a romantic partner? Something had to give, and Rebecca had already decided what that would be. The fall carnival at Riverside Elementary came faster than Rebecca expected. She'd volunteered to help with the cakewalk because Sophia had begged, and Rebecca couldn't say no to those pleading eyes. Now she stood behind a table covered in homemade desserts, calling numbers while children walked in circles to upbeat music. "Number 7. We have a winner at number 7. A small boy, the same blonde kid from the parent-teacher conference, jumped up and down. That's me, Dad." Rebecca looked up and locked eyes with Mr. Patterson. who stood at the edge of the circle with an amused smile. He was better looking than she'd registered that night. Strong jaw, kind eyes, and a presence that suggested competence and calm. "Ethan, go pick your cake," he said, and the boy dashed to the table. "Can I have the chocolate one? With the sprinkles?" "That's the most popular choice today," Rebecca said, handing it over. "Good taste." "It's for my dad. It's his birthday tomorrow," Ethan announced proudly. Rebecca glanced at Mr. Patterson, who looked slightly embarrassed. "Happy early birthday." "Thanks." 34 and celebrating with a sheet cake from an elementary school carnival. Living the dream. His smile was self-deprecating but genuine. "There are worse ways to celebrate," Rebecca replied, surprising herself by continuing the conversation. "At least you've got good company." "The best company," he agreed, watching his son carefully carry the cake toward a seating area. "I'm Ryan, by the way. Ryan Patterson. I think our kids are in the same class. Your daughter is Sophia, right? Niece, actually. I'm Rebecca Chen, and yes, Sophia's in Mrs. Hernandez's class." She didn't elaborate on the guardianship situation. It felt too personal for a carnival conversation. "Well, Sophia's great. Ethan talks about her constantly. Apparently she's the best at Foursquare." Rebecca laughed. "She practices in the driveway like it's an Olympic sport." They might have talked longer, but a wave of children demanded attention, and Ryan gave a small wave before heading off to join Ethan. Rebecca told herself the flutter in her chest was just carnival energy, nothing more. But when Sophia appeared an hour later, her face painted like a butterfly and carrying an enormous stuffed panda, she had news. "Auntie Becca, guess what? Ethan invited me to his birthday party tomorrow at the trampoline place. Can I go? Please, please, please." Rebecca's mind raced. A birthday party meant coordination, probably staying to supervise, interaction with other parents. It meant time she'd planned to use catching up on work. But Sophia's hopeful expression made the decision easy. "Of course you can go. We'll get Ethan a great present." Sophia squealed and hugged her, and Rebecca caught Ryan's eye across the carnival. He mouthed "thank you," and she nodded, wondering what exactly she'd just agreed to. Sky High Trampoline Park was chaos incarnate. 20 kids hopped up on pizza and cake, bouncing off walls and each other in ways that probably violated several physics laws. Rebecca stood with the other parents in an observation area, trying not to wince every time Sophia attempted a flip. Ryan appeared beside her with 2 bottles of water. "You look like you could use this." "Fair warning, it gets louder." "I don't know how that's possible," Rebecca said, accepting the water gratefully. "Just wait until they bring out the birthday cake. The sugar rush is real." Ryan watched Ethan do a cannonball into a foam pit. "Thanks for coming." And for bringing Sophia. Ethan was really hoping she'd be here. "Happy to. Though I have to admit, I'm out of my depth with kid parties. This is my first one as the responsible adult." Ryan glanced at her curiously. "First one?" Rebecca found herself explaining. The deployment, the guardianship, the sudden shift from fun aunt to primary caregiver. Ryan listened without judgment, nodding in understanding. "That's a big adjustment. How long has it been?" 6 months. Some days I feel like I'm getting the hang of it. Other days, Sophia asks me to help with her hair, and I create something that looks like a bird's nest." Rebecca surprised herself with her honesty. Ryan laughed. "I've been doing this for 3 years, and I still can't master a ponytail. YouTube tutorials only go so far." 3 years? Rebecca asked before she could stop herself. "Yeah, my wife, ex-wife, Hannah, she left when Ethan was 4. Realized she'd gotten married and had a kid too young. Wanted to find herself. Last I heard, she was in California working at a yoga retreat." Ryan's tone was matter-of-fact, without bitterness. "We talk occasionally. She sends birthday cards, but the day-to-day, that's all me. That must be incredibly hard." "It was at first. Everyone said I couldn't do it alone, that Ethan needed his mother, that I needed to find a partner fast, that single dads couldn't handle elementary school drama and emotional development." Ryan watched his son laugh with friends. "But you know what? Ethan and I figured it out. We have our routine, our rhythm. It's not conventional, but it works." Rebecca felt something shift in her chest. "People have said similar things to me. That Sophia needs stability I can't provide alone. That I should prioritize finding a partner to help shoulder the responsibility." "That's garbage," Ryan said bluntly. "You don't need a partner to be a good parent. You need love, commitment, and a willingness to show up every day. Everything else is just noise." They fell into easy conversation. discovering they both lived in the Stapleton neighborhood. Both struggled with work-life balance. Both felt the weight of other people's judgments about their parenting situations. Ryan worked as a physical therapist at a sports medicine clinic, juggling patient appointments with school pickups and solo parenting. The dating thing is impossible, Ryan admitted as they watched the kids devour birthday cake. I tried apps for a while. Every date either ended with women running when they found out I had a kid, or they had this weird savior complex, like they wanted to rescue us. One woman actually said she didn't mind that I had baggage. Baggage, Rebecca repeated, her voice flat. She called Ethan baggage? Yep, that was the last first date I went on. 6 months ago. Ryan shook his head. I decided Ethan and I are fine as we are. Romance can wait. Rebecca heard her own thoughts echoed in his words. I've been telling myself the same thing. That it's better to focus on Sophia, not complicate things with dating. Single parents can't really multitask love, right? Ryan turned to look at her directly, his expression thoughtful. Can't they? Or have we just accepted other people's limitations as our own truth? Before Rebecca could respond, Ethan ran over, sweaty and ecstatic. Dad! Dad! Can Sophia come over for a playdate, please? Sophia appeared seconds later, equally enthusiastic. Auntie Becca, can I? Ryan and Rebecca exchanged glances, and Rebecca saw her own surprise, mirrored in his eyes. Surprise that felt like possibility. How about next Saturday? Ryan suggested. We could grab the kids' pizza, let them play in the backyard. Low-key. That sounds great, Rebecca heard herself say. The playdate turned into a standing Saturday tradition. What started as kids playing while adults supervised evolved into genuine friendship. Ryan and Rebecca discovered they had more in common than shared parenting challenges. They both loved hiking, terrible reality TV, and had strong opinions about the Oxford comma. 8 weeks into their Saturday routine, Ryan invited Rebecca and Sophia to join him and Ethan for a hike up Mount Falcon. It was October, peak fall colors, and the trail was manageable for the kids. They hiked together, kids running ahead, occasionally circling back to show rocks or interesting leaves. At the summit, they found a spot overlooking the Denver metro area, autumn colors stretching to the horizon. This is good, Rebecca said, breathing in crisp mountain air. I forget sometimes that Colorado is beautiful. I get so caught up in routines and responsibilities. That's the trap, isn't it? Ryan unpacked sandwiches from his backpack. You focus so hard on being responsible that you forget to actually live. Ethan and Sophia were absorbed in building a fort from fallen branches, their laughter carrying on the breeze. Can I ask you something? Rebecca said suddenly. That thing you said at the birthday party, about not accepting other people's limitations as our truth. Did you mean it? Ryan was quiet for a moment. Yeah, I did. I spent a year after Hannah left believing I was somehow deficient because I couldn't do it all. Couldn't be both parents. Couldn't maintain my career at the same level. Couldn't date successfully. But then I realized I wasn't deficient. I was just measuring myself against impossible standards. So what changed? I stopped trying to be everything and started being present for what mattered. I'm not trying to be Ethan's mom. I'm being his dad, the best version I can be. I'm not trying to have a traditional relationship timeline. I'm building a life that works for us. He looked at her, and somewhere along the way, I figured out that the right person wouldn't see Ethan as an obstacle. They'd see him as part of the package, the good part. Rebecca felt her throat tighten. I've been so scared of letting anyone in. Scared they'd hurt Sophia or bail when things got hard. Scared I couldn't give enough to both a relationship and raising her. Becca, Ryan's voice was gentle. You're one of the most present people I've met. You show up for Sophia completely. But showing up for her doesn't mean you can't also show up for yourself. Or for someone else. Is that what we're doing? Rebecca asked quietly. Showing up for each other? Ryan shifted closer. I think we've been doing that for weeks. I just didn't want to presume. Rebecca's heart hammered. Presume what? That these Saturdays mean as much to you as they do to me. That somewhere between trampoline parks and pizza, I started looking forward to seeing you as much as I look forward to seeing Ethan happy. Ryan's eyes were steady on hers. That maybe, just maybe, we're both wrong about single parents not being able to multitask love. We might be wrong? Rebecca felt a smile tugging at her lips. We're definitely wrong. Ryan's hand found hers. Love isn't a finite resource. It multiplies. You loving Sophia doesn't leave you with less love to give. It gives you more capacity. I see how you are with her. Patient, present, committed. Those aren't qualities that make you unavailable. They make you exactly the kind of person worth knowing. Rebecca thought about Marcus, who'd seen Sophia as a burden. About her own fears that becoming a guardian meant. sacrificing her chance at partnership. About all the times she'd told herself she had to choose. I've been so focused on protecting Sophia that I forgot I matter too. Rebecca whispered. You both matter. That's the point. Ryan squeezed her hand. And for what it's worth, I think we could figure this out together. No pressure, no timeline, just possibility. Rebecca looked at Sophia and Ethan, now engaged in an elaborate game involving pirates and treasure. Two kids who'd found friendship despite complex family situations. Two kids who didn't see obstacles, just playmates. Okay, Rebecca said. Okay? Okay, let's try. Let's see if we're right. That love multiplies instead of divides. Ryan's smile was sunrise bright. Best decision you've made all day. Second best, Rebecca corrected. First was agreeing to this hike. 6 months later, Ryan and Rebecca stood in the kitchen of her townhouse, cooking dinner together while Ethan and Sophia set the table. It had become their Thursday night tradition. Ryan and Ethan came over. They cooked as a team, and the kids did homework together afterward. It wasn't perfect. There were still challenges, coordinating schedules, managing different parenting styles, explaining their relationship to curious relatives. Rebecca's sister had come home on leave and was cautiously supportive. Ryan's parents adored Rebecca. The kids had adapted with the resilience of youth. But what struck Rebecca most was how natural it felt. Ryan loading her dishwasher. Sophia asking Ryan to help with her math homework. Ethan falling asleep during movie night with his head on Rebecca's shoulder. The way Ryan kissed her forehead when he thought the kids weren't looking. Auntie Becca? Sophia appeared at her elbow. Is Ryan your boyfriend? Rebecca and Ryan exchanged glances. They'd been waiting for this question. Yes, sweetie, he is. Is that okay with you? Sophia considered this with 7-year-old seriousness. Does that mean Ethan is like my brother? More like your very good friend who's around a lot, Ryan explained. Cool, can we have dessert now? Just like that, the moment passed. Kids, Rebecca was learning, cared more about ice cream than adult relationship labels. Later, after the kids were in bed, Ethan in Sophia's room for a sleepover, Ryan and Rebecca sat on her back patio under string lights. Remember when you said single parents couldn't multitask love? Ryan said. I remember being an idiot, yes. Ryan laughed. You weren't an idiot. You were scared. We both were. He pulled her closer. But look at us now. You're raising an incredible kid. I'm raising an incredible kid. And somehow, we're also building something pretty incredible together. Rebecca rested her head on his shoulder. You taught me that love isn't a zero-sum game. That opening my heart to you doesn't mean I love Sophia less. If anything, I love her more, because I'm happier, more whole. We're teaching each other, Ryan corrected. This works because we're both committed to showing up for our kids and for each other. Rebecca thought about the woman she'd been a year ago, exhausted, overwhelmed, convinced that parenting meant sacrificing personal happiness. She thought about Ryan, who'd been navigating single parenthood with quiet strength long before they met. They hadn't rescued each other. They'd recognized each other, two people doing their best. Refusing to accept limitations others tried to impose. I love you, Rebecca said simply. I love you too. Ryan kissed her softly. Both of you. All of this. Inside, Sophia and Ethan's laughter drifted through an open window. Tomorrow would bring soccer games and grocery shopping, homework help and bedtime stories. The beautiful, chaotic routine of blended families. But tonight, under Denver stars, Rebecca understood what Ryan had meant months ago. Love doesn't divide. It multiplies. And single parents don't fail at multitasking love. They master it.